Hello, as promised, it's the second video of the day, and I had to reserve a good chunk of time to talk about Fernandinho because we all absolutely love Fernandinho, and he's going to sign a new contract, a one-year extension on his current deal, which is absolutely wonderful news because Fernandinho is a legend. To put it simply, Fernandinho is a fantastic leader in this team and an essential member of the squad. And I don't care that he's getting really old because I still think he's fit as a fiddle. He's still got absolutely loads to offer. And I feel like we've learned a very important lesson given the Kompany departure and all that kind of stuff. Like, you don't let a player go until you've got the young one in or whatever, the young guy to replace them. And I'm glad we're not letting him go. We could have basically be facing a situation where next season we would have lost David Silva and Fernandinho in one fell swoop. And that would have been just too much. You can't lose. And bear in mind, Kompany would have gone only 12 months early. Would have lost three absolutely huge, key influential figures in such a short space of time. And we seem to have learned a lesson from this. And Fernandinho is going to stay a year longer. And it's massive. Fernandinho himself said about this contract extension, he said, "This is the best possible news. I want to take this opportunity to put on record how grateful I am to my teammates and the backroom staff at Manchester City. Without them, this deal would not be possible, so sincere thanks to every single one of them. I'm so happy that I'll continue to play for them a year longer. I feel their love and passion. It genuinely keeps me driven. My focus now is on making sure we continue to be successful." And then he said this as well about Manchester City and the fans. He said, "I've enjoyed every second of my time at City. I never expected to build such a meaningful relationship with the club and the fans, but it has happened and I'm grateful every single day." And so are we, Ferner. Honestly, to me, he's underrated. Even right now, he's somehow still underrated. It's also worth remembering, by the way, don't forget he paid like $4 million of his own transfer fee to get to Manchester City in the first place. He really wanted to be here, and he certainly made the most of it. And I've seen some great stats going around on City Extra. City Extra, thank you for accumulating them all for me, including this one about how since he's joined City in 2013-14, he's won 149 of his 214 games in the Premier League, which is 70% more than any other player in the competition during this time. So he basically is a winner. When he plays, City tend to win more than they don't. And also, he's carried the ball up the field more than any other player in the Premier League this season, which is 4,347 metres. So what I like about that is that he's shown that his game is actually evolving at Manchester City as a centre-back now. He's using that kind of ability he's got on the balls in midfield to step into midfield. And I think we'll actually see him do more and more of that because he's obviously not going to be a midfielder again. Unless we have some kind of crisis there, he's going to be a centre-back. And that's basically credit to him as a footballer that he's still learning this role. And even though he isn't a long-term solution, obviously, he'll still be fine next season. He'll still be a perfectly good backup. And he's showing signs already that he gets the role, he gets it. And obviously having him on the pitch in general is just fantastic. Cheeky Briggenstein as well said this about him. He said, "This new deal reflects Fernandinho's quality and commitment. He's not only a first-class professional, one of the best players in world football," which is true, he's a fantastic person who leads by example every single day. We have a talented young squad, but making sure they are supplemented by senior players of Fernandinho's ilk is of paramount importance. What he brings in leadership and professionalism is valued by everyone at the football club." And that goes back to that whole thing about realising that you can't just lose senior players without them kind of bedding in the next replacement. I think we've learned that from the Kompany fiasco, and thankfully Fernandinho is going to stay around while we bring in a centre-back replacement and not just rely on an old guy or someone else. Cheeky also said he's a player with outstanding technical quality and his appreciation of the game allows him to play multiple positions. He's a player without ego, someone who values his teammates and recognises the importance of the squad, and that's just totally true. I do love Ferner. I think he's fantastic. I do wish that we didn't have to play him at centre-back all the time because a player of his quality should be able to play in his usual position. But maybe that is the solution to his ageing legs. Maybe the fact that he has to run a little bit less and he can use his nous and his experience to read the game, maybe that's why he'll last as long as he probably will do. Fernandinho is a phenomenal person, never mind a phenomenal footballer. And that guy that just gets the fans and gets the culture over here, he's the kind of person I want to see at the club for a while. What's to say he doesn't play this season, then retires next season after running up his contract, and then spends maybe like 2 or 3 years as an assistant to whoever the next manager is, or maybe he coaches a youth team, and maybe what's to say he won't be a manager in 3 or 4 years from now or something like that, maybe 4 or 5 years. I want to make sure we keep Fernandinho around the squad because a player of his stature, of his intelligence, We've all seen the clips of him starting to show the players how to do things on the pitch and all that kind of stuff. He has got a natural kind of coaching mentality, and I think he's more fiery than we realise sometimes. Well, we know he's a tough little bastard, but I reckon as a coach it would come to the fore. There's nothing to say that he couldn't come in to a good club now, in my opinion, and do a very good job, because he's that intelligent and that switched on. Look what Arteta's doing at Arsenal. He's definitely improving their football, and Fernandinho is equally as intelligent, in my humble opinion, and I'm sure he carries just as much respect because he's a natural leader. This is great news and really well timed. A lovely boost ahead of the game tomorrow. I'm delighted. I love Ferner. I would have a statue of him alongside the likes of Kompany, Aguero, David Silva, happily, because I value him that highly. I think he's a phenomenal player. And the only reason people don't put him quite as high as those is because he's not been here quite as long, and because he came a little bit afterwards, which is a shame because he's that important in my humble opinion. Guys, let me know how happy you are with the news. I'm sure you're all absolutely delighted. Go and check out the other video where I talked about absolutely loads of things, including Sane, the game tomorrow, Fulham, and absolutely loads more. Anyway, in a bit.